150 FTEs. The $2 million project is seeking a real property tax abatement, mortgage recording tax, and sales tax exemption, and the cost-benefit ratio is 40-1.
Thank you, Anna. And Marissa Allen, the treasurer, is with us. She also does clockwork.
She changed our clock.
She helped us set the time on our clock a few minutes ago.
So I'm Marissa Allen. I am the treasurer of Emerald Point Developers and also Advantech Industries. We're a family-owned, Advantech is a family-owned and operated business that started in 2002. And as Anya said, we do CNC machining, sheet metal fabrication, welding, and assembly, mainly in support of the Department of Defense. So we work on major missile systems, mine-resistant vehicles, naval ship components, submarine parts, radar systems, you name it, communication systems. It's probably about 60 to 70% of our business right now. We also support customers in power generation, medical, railway, transportation, communications, and in the last couple of years, space navigation, which is exciting. So we built our main facility, which is 150,000 square feet, in 2002 with the assistance of COMIDA at the time. So I went through that process with COMIDA, which was great. We moved in that building with approximately 30 employees, and to date we've been able to grow to 150 employees. We've had significant, healthy, steady growth, and again with the assistance of COMIDA. So that was a success project from this program. And at this point we've outgrown our main facility, so we made the decision to transfer our sheet metal capabilities to an existing facility that we owned across the street. And that building does not have enough room to house the growth expansion that we are working towards in that facility, in that part of our business. So we are looking to construct a 44,000 square feet building that will attach to the existing facility. And with that, we would look to purchase additional equipment and to improve upon and expand our capabilities, looking at moving into fiber lasers and potentially some finishing requirements. So it would be a great help to our business to move in that direction, and it would afford the growth that we're looking for in the community over the next few years.
Very good. Questions?
So out of the 150 right now in that division, roughly how many would be moving across the street?
So right now there's approximately 30 people across the street, and we would expect that to greatly expand. We're also not entirely finished moving our equipment because we don't have the room. So there's pieces of the sheet metal fabrication that are still in our main facility that do need to be moved over there, but we do need the additional floor space to do so.
I'm sure the tool manufacturing division's going to love the welding division to be separated from their environment, so kudos to that. Yeah.
Yeah. And we do some extensive, we have a pretty large weld department, so we do NAVC welding, all the American Weld Standard welding certified for the military. So it's quite an impressive operation. We're excited to have it growing.
Okay, any other questions? All right, we did hold a public hearing on this project on March 22nd.
No public comments?
No public comments, okay, thank you. I'll ask you local labor questions. Are you aware of our local labor policy?
Yes.
And do you anticipate any local labor exemptions at this time?
No.
And are you aware that any exemptions need to be requested 45 days in advance?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. The secret process is complete. Now I'll ask for a motion for inducement of final resolution approving a real property tax abatement, mortgage recording tax exemption, and sales tax exemption. Been moved by Rhett, seconded by Troy. Any comments, questions? Okay, I'll take a roll call vote. Jay?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Troy?
Yay.
Joe?
Yes.
Rhett?
Yay.
Norm?
Yes.
And Ann is a yay. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
unanimously. This is a good book.
Congratulations. Good luck.
Thank you very much, and staying in Monroe County.
Absolutely.
Growing in Monroe County.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, the next project is the Sibley Redevelopment 2 Limited Partnership, SWBR, and we have Representative Ken Green, SWBR, Michael Pickard, CFO, and Tom Gears, Principal. And Anna, would you like to do this?
Beth is here,
Okay,
so.
you're welcome to come up to the podium, and Anna can give us a summary of the project.
Thank you. In 2012, at the request of the City of Rochester, COMIDA approved a custom pilot agreement for the redevelopment of the 1 million square foot former Sibley's department store in the City of Rochester. Sibley Redevelopment 2 Limited Partnership is now proposing the renovation of 101,000 square feet of the existing building for new tenants, which will include SWBR Architecture with 105 FTEs, a company called Bandwidth with 30 FTEs, and Miss Julie's School of Beauty with 5 FTEs. These new tenants will occupy 74,000 square feet, and the remaining space will be leased when renovations are complete. SWBR Architecture is requesting a sales tax exemption for furniture, fixtures, and equipment, and is projecting to create 26 FTEs in addition to its 105 existing employees. Sibley Redevelopment 2, pending city approval, will receive the benefit of the existing pilot agreement and is also seeking a mortgage reporting tax and sales tax exemption. The cost to benefit ratio is 61:1.
Good afternoon.
Okay, good afternoon. Would you like to tell us more?
My name is Ken Green.
Hi,
First, let
Ken.
me start by thanking COMIDA. This project, Sibley's conversion from a department store to a mixed-use facility, couldn't have occurred. This is under the category of how do you eat an elephant, one bite at a time. I think it's probably important to note that with the creation of Sibley Redevelopment 2, a condo within the large structure, you guys have given us some help with the apartment communities that were built, each individual condo, mixed use, Sibley commercial. Sibley Redevelopment 2 has just been broken away from Sibley Redevelopment 1. So in essence, we've already captured some savings in Sibley Redevelopment 1, which we don't anticipate now needing as we create Sibley Redevelopment 2, because Sibley Redevelopment 2 is a financing structure for allow us to go to the bank and finance this next phase of the development. What we're delighted to know is that with the addition of the 3 that we've identified, we will have crossed the reactivation of more than 1 million square feet of that building. It's a 1.1 million square foot building that 8 years ago when MCC moved was vacant. And that couldn't have happened without your support. So in essence, the creation of Sibley Redevelopment 2 is just moving some of what was already approved in Sibley Redevelopment 1 into a new condo to allow us to finance it for these new tenants.
Condo means commercial too in this instance.
Condominium is a structure where ownership of individual parts of the building, it does not necessarily mean an apartment.
Right.
Thank you for the clarification. Happy to answer any questions. And if you're looking for any locations, we still have about 60,000 square feet of space. If the county's looking for expansion, we've got a great restaurant marketplace called the Mercantile on Main.
It is an enormous project for senior. Any other questions?
I'm happy to turn it over to Tom Gears and Mike if you want to talk about the SWBR portion of it, or do you want to do it
Sure,
separately?
that's fine.
Hi, Tom Gears, President of SWBR. And SWBR has been in existence for 55 years. The last 34 of which have been at Eastman Place, renamed Miller Center, owned by the University of Rochester. Over the last several years, the University of Rochester has been urging us to move, seeking more additional space within their footprint. So we are a group of architects, interior designers, structural engineers, landscape architects, and planners We work in the housing, education, and commercial industrial sectors. And our mission statement is to positively impact lives through meaningful design. So I'm sure you've experienced many of our projects within the downtown core and within the county, and we're pleased to be on a slow, steady growth path for our future. We've committed for the next 20 years in the Sibley Square building. Any questions I'd be happy to answer.
Any questions? Jay?
So Tom, the amount of space you guys are taking, you anticipate sufficing for the next couple of decades here?
Right, we have space day one that's about 35% larger than our current footprint. So it provides area for growth, for this growth we've anticipated. And beyond that, I think we have plenty of options, as Ken referred to grow within the building.
Their space is 35,000 square feet specifically.
They're the one that they're taking.
That's right.
Thank you for that. Any questions from the board? Thank you very much. Okay, we held a public hearing on this project on the 22nd of March. Was there any questions there?
No public comments.
Okay. I'll ask you our local labor questions. Are you aware of our local labor policy?
I am.
Do you anticipate any local labor exemptions at
We
this
do not.
time? And are you aware that any exemptions need to be requested 45 days in advance?
We do.
Okay, great, thank you. The seeker process is complete. I'll ask now for a motion for inducement and final resolution approving a real property tax abatement, mortgage recording tax exemption, and sales tax exemptions. Moved by Troy. Seconded by Rhett, thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, any additional questions, comments? All right, I'll take a roll call vote. Jay?
Abstain?
Lisa? Yay. Troy?
Yay.
Joe?
Yes,
We're just making sure the motion included the
Yeah.
real property tax abatement.
yeah, because
It's there,
And
yes.
it does.
They have the benefit of the existing pilot agreement and the mortgage.
Okay, Rhett
Yay.
and Norm.
Yes.
Okay. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Good luck to you.
Thank you all for your
Thanks
support.
for all the good things that you're doing
Sure.
to rebuild that part of downtown.
Thank you for staying in Rochester.
We can't move the building out of Monroe County.
No, not you. You're stuck. I'm talking to these guys.
Many have hoped to.
Building is almost full.
It is.
12 years
Have you
later.
been in the basement?
I've never been in the basement.
So the basement is, when we were with RDH, we were thinking about putting in a chiller plant in the basement. We were gonna run chilled water
Yes, you
through a loop downtown if Ren Square was became a reality. That's another lifetime.
That's an electric.
You've got all those lifetimes, Norm. We want to hear all of it.
You guys, I don't know if you can handle it.
Okay, we're moving now on to project modifications, and the first project is O'Connell Electric Company, and we actually have a representative here too, Richard Camping.
O'Connell Electric Company Incorporated is a full-service electrical contractor providing comprehensive design, build, construction service, maintenance, and emergency response services. This project is a 20,000 square foot, two-story office building and training facility consisting of 56 offices, a large training room, and related common area. The building was necessary to accommodate O'Connell Electric's power division's continued growth and expansion. O'Connell Electric anticipates creating 5 new FTEs in addition to the existing 19 FTEs. In June of 2022, the $6.5 million project was approved for a real property tax abatement, mortgage recording tax, and sales tax exemptions. And the application was then approved for an increase in the sales tax exemption in January of 2023. The applicant is now requesting an additional increase in project costs of $2,613,007 due to the purchase of additional vehicles. The total project cost is now $13,170,007, and the new sales tax exemption benefit amount is $760,070.
Thank you, Anna. So welcome.
Thank you.
If you'd like to share additional information.
I sure would. I feel like old home week. We started this project in May of 22. I was here for that first go-round. Since then, I can report we have moved into the building about 2 weeks ago. There are 56 offices in this building, of which probably 70% are now full. We've relocated people from Ontario County into Monroe County in order to do this. We are well beyond the 5 FTEs that I have the seating chart. It's so funny. There's at least 12 names that I don't recognize that have been hired since this, on top of the 5 that were previously hired. So it's been a success all around for everybody involved. And personally, my involvement with this table has been wonderful. I'm back here for the 3rd time now. And I have since retired through this process as well. During the application for the modification number 2, I was talking to Robin and she asked me how retirement was going. I said, well, retirement at O'Connell Electric is kind of like a visit to Hotel California. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. So here I am again. And I happen to be, I guess, the face of O'Connell Electric for COMIDA's purposes. I'm happy to fulfill those duties. The reason we're asking for more purchases, if I can jog your memory, the first modification, second time I was here, was extension of time and purchase of approximately $3 million worth of vehicles, trucks. Well, through that process, things changed quite a bit, and we weren't able to buy the exact trucks that we had said we were going to buy due to availability. We still needed trucks. Our demand for our people and the employment continued to grow, and we needed the tools. So the guys doing all the purchasing went out and bought some trucks, and they were close and very exact in their, not exact in their features, but in their function. So for instance, the first round of trucks were supposed to be Freightliner chassis with L-Tech upfitting. The upfitting is the booms that go on the trucks and the utility bodies, the difference of forestry truck and electrical service trucks. So we didn't buy exactly what we had to, but we did buy $3 million worth of trucks, and that worked out well. Now, as we've terminated the project almost, closed it out, the trucks have become available. And in fact, the trucks we want to buy now, we have rented for the last year. We had as many as 150 trucks on rent on top of our 150 trucks that we own. We had on rental. So we've had them since they were brand new, even though we couldn't buy new trucks. Exactly, we were able to rent them. Now they're available. There's a reduction in the demand for trucks. The market has resumed. You remember the chip problems with vehicles. That's kind of leveled out. So these trucks were in our care since the day they were delivered. We haven't let go of them. We now want to buy them from the rental company and transfer them into our name through the COMIDA process before we close. So there's the ask for an additional $2.6 million thereabouts for this non-manufacturing equipment.
How many? 100 vehicles?
Trucks?
Trucks, yeah.
I think 12 trucks.
There's about 11 additional in the
11
first half, so
additional
we've
ones, right?
assisted with, call it, just under 25 trucks.
$2.6 million.
Very expensive trucks.
Those are expensive.
Yes.
Fancy.
They're not your passenger
These are
vehicle
the
trucks.
trucks that the men get in to do service work on electrical power equipment, bucket truck. Some of the trucks are derrick diggers that dig the holes that the power poles go into. And the other trucks are service trucks, the mechanics trucks that go around and maintain all this equipment
Quite a
while we're out on
variety.
the road. And lastly, the forestry trucks that we bought, the first modification because we had expanded the forestry operation, where many of these new hires come from. So, yeah, it's been great for us. We'd like to get these through on the same sales tax benefit, and that's why I'm here.
Well, thank you very much. Any questions? All right, I'll ask for a motion to approve an increase in project cost.
I'll motion in.
Do we need to have an additional or a mention in the motion about the new sales tax exemption?
No, we typically don't list the number.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Who moved the
I'll
motion?
motion.
Joe did. And Lisa seconded. Any additional comments, questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. So we'll see you again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, the next project modification is Galena Elm Grove LLC, and we have Representative Evan Galena with us. Thank you. Anna, you want to walk us through the change?
Galena Elm Grove constructed a 34,000 square foot office and warehouse building in the town of Gates. The building joins 13 existing buildings in the Elm Grove Crossing Business Park. This building is considered a flex property to help cater to the demand for light industrial and flex space and will be divided into suites for tenants to be identified. The applicant was approved for sales tax and mortgage recording tax exemptions in October of 2023, and the applicant is now requesting an increase in project costs of $800,000 to complete the interior build out for new secured tenants. The new sales tax exemption is not to exceed $218,000, and the total project cost is now $3,875,000.
So welcome, Evan. You want to tell us more?
I'd love to. Thanks for having me.
Thanks
Those
for
of you that
coming.
don't know me, Evan Galena, partner at Galena Development. Galena Elm Grove LLC is one of our subsidiaries. When I came in back in October, we had talked about developing a new flex product. That was a speculative build at that time, approximately 34,000 feet with no secured tenants. We made some assumptions on what the interior fit outs would be and had that as a placeholder for construction costs. I'm happy to report that today we have 2 tenants that have signed leases with us. Based on what they would like to see, project costs have increased approximately $800,000 per their layouts and agreed upon terms. So we're asking for additional support to help support their needs and get them moved in and retained down here in Monroe County.
Can you tell us about the 2 tenants?
I was just going to say.
Sure. The first one is Johnson Controls. So they're taking approximately half the building, large company. I'm sure we all know who they are. The second company is
Are they currently here? Are they relocated?
They're in Victor.
Johnson Controls.
Fisher's New York.
They've had, I believe this location will consolidate 3 locations around Rochester and get all of the folks under one roof. So to help efficiencies from their standpoint. The other tenant is a company called Asa Abloy. It's an international company that makes door hardware. So I'm sure their products are littered throughout this building. They recently purchased Caldwell Manufacturing. And so this will be their new headquarters.
So that Asa's not here now, correct?
Asa's footprint is only via the purchase of Caldwell. So they were not here prior.
Okay, any other questions? I'll ask for a motion to approve an increase in project costs.
So move.
Been moved by Norm, seconded by Brett. Any other comments, changes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Good luck.
To you.
That's another one that we're getting from Ontario County.
Yeah.
Because I know they were in Fisher's one.
I know. we've got Constellation moving in down the street, so.
Hey, competition's good.
The grass is greener and then they're coming.
Exactly.
Okay.
No, it's all you, right?
Our next modification is Lemke, Real Estate Holdings LLC. It's an extension. Anna, can you walk us through that?
Lemke Real Estate Holdings LLC, a real estate holding company, is constructing 3 buildings in the town of Henrietta for its tenant RAL Landscape Incorporated. RAL Landscape is a family-owned landscaping business that provides landscape maintenance, snow and ice management. The $2,809,830 project was approved for a real property tax abatement, mortgage recording tax, and sales tax exemptions in June of 2022. The applicant is now seeking an extension of the sales tax exemption through December 31st of 2024 because of construction and materials delays.
Okay. Any questions from the board on that? All right, I'll ask for a motion to approve an extension of the sales tax exemption through December 31, 2024.
Move it.
Moved by Norm, seconded by Lisa. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, we're whipping right through here. So the next item is our executive director will talk to us about Rochester Careers in Construction Inc. Tracks Program. And we'd like to welcome Joe Morelli Jr. to review the program request.
Thank you, Ann, and thank you, Joseph, for being with us today. The Tracks program, I'm going to let Joe go into detail about it, but this is a pre-apprenticeship program hosted by Unicon in partnership with Rochester Careers in Construction. It's to get members of the workforce ready for careers in the construction trades. I believe it's an 8-week program and was first introduced to this community in tandem with National Apprenticeship Week last November. And I think you're on your second cohort of graduates now, so I'll let Joseph take it away. But this is a request for $250,000 in annual support from the Workforce Development Fund through COMIDA over the course of 3 years.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Director Liss. Not only to you, but to your team. That's been great, and I appreciate the opportunity for you to review our application and for us to be able to submit it. And thank you, Chairwoman Burr, for submitting this to the board and to all the board members for your consideration. So TRACS is acronym for Training Rochester Adults in Construction Skills. It's a new program that was created out of the need for more people in the building trades, and I'm sure my good friend Troy Milne will agree that that is a need. Last year, this board supported the Rochester Building Trades with $100,000 in media campaign. That was then matched by the City of Rochester and then matched again by the Rochester Building Trades for a total of $300,000 for media campaign. So this board already understands the amount of work coming to Rochester, to Monroe County, and the need for expertise and skills of tradesmen and women, and TRACS is trying to help fill that need. As Director Liss pointed out, we have an 8-week program which offers a slim insight into the world of organized construction. We utilize the North American Building Trades multi-craft core curriculum, so that's NAB2's MC3 for more acronyms that we'll throw out there. And this is in conjunction with their 501c3, which is Trades Futures, which provides participants with 120 hours of basic understanding of the construction world. TRACS adds an additional training thanks to our trainer, John Guilford, who is here with me today. In addition to the 120 hours, we add OSHA 30 training, traffic control training, scaffolding training, as well as CPR and AED training as a way to ensure that our participants have the appropriate needs when it comes to safety training, ensuring that they're better candidates for to become future apprentices. We then work with local unions and training centers to have our participants visit these halls, hear what the different work is that the different trades perform, and how to become a member. Finally, we provide our participants with a $2,400 stipend that is paid out over the 8-week period. We provide them with a like-new laptop, which we purchase through Shift 2, which is a local organization that provides refurbished laptops. And we've provided these additional items as a way to help overcome different barriers that we know greatly impact the underrepresented populations in the building trades. We were first awarded $75,000 through Trades Futures on a federal workforce development grant that Trades Futures received. The goal of that were to train 80% people of color, 20% women interested in trades careers. We're happy to say that with almost no money spent on marketing, our graduates are 96% people of color and 14% women, with a waiting list of over 70 people. Our class sizes have remained small, with an average of 13 people in our first 2 cohorts. As you'll see in the application, our 2 cohorts, the first one started in November, to Director Liss's point, during National Apprenticeship Week, and then our second cohort began in the end of January. That class just graduated last week. If we are honored to receive the $250,000 a year for a 3-year agreement with COMIDA, we'll be able to get closer to achieving our goal of graduating 60 participants a year. We also know that graduation doesn't necessarily mean that our work with our participants is over. In fact, it's something that we tell them at graduation. And our hope is that we would be able to eventually employ a caseworker who will handle applications into our program, handle interviews, but also handle all of the post-graduation work. Right now, I do it. I'm not very good at it, but I'm trying my best. Luckily, there's only 22 individuals. We probably communicate with them just as much during the program as we do after the program. Our first cohort saw 8 out of our 10 graduates immediately apply into union trades. And while the winter season has hurt work a bit, we're confident that our 8 graduates will be employed within a matter of months, and further, our second cohort will likely do the same. We are not alone in this program. We do have an agreement with the Urban League of Rochester to not only help with our recruitment efforts, but also to provide much needed wraparound services for our program. For instance, we had a participant who was dealing with housing insecurities. Thanks to our support of Urban League, as well as other organizations that we work with, we were able to ensure that that participant had housing and was able to finish the program. The building trades has been very supportive of us. We have received all of support from every single one of the building trades affiliates, the Rochester Building Trades Council affiliates. In addition, again, in your packet, you will see that we received a letter from Director Chris Pinero from the Department of Labor, indicating that we had our initial review to become a direct entry program. I'm happy to report that I received a letter today saying that is official, as we have already been accepted into the affirmative action plans of at least 2 or 3 of the local unions already, and we're working to eventually have that with all of our local building trades. So with that, again, I do want to thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions, but certainly this funding would help to continue our mission to put more people into the building trades.
And a comment, question? Joe, it's great that you guys are doing aftercare or after they're done with the program, because I've been involved in programs in the past, and sometimes they graduate the program, and then afterwards they fall through the cracks. You don't know anything what's happening with them. So that you have the forethought to go through that, I think I applaud that. And then second, if you don't receive this, how many people would you graduate from the program if you did not receive the additional funding?
If we didn't receive this funding, we have enough to complete likely one additional cohort. And that would put us at, that cohort, we have room for about 15 more. So this funding is needed. I should note that we're also hopeful that with this potential funding, we'll be able to utilize it to go after even more funding. We are in the process of completing an application with New York State to receive direct entry funding that the Department of Labor, New York State Department of Labor has put out. We also know that there's private grants available that are focused on workforce development. We luckily, with our initial 75,000, we were able to show that our program kind of as a pilot, we were able to put the first 2 cohorts together. I also should note that New York State Workforce Development Institute, WDI, also has supported us with nearly $50,000, and that helped to fill the need of our second cohort. So that's how we're able to do at least one more, but again, additional funding will be able to do 60. Again, the goal is to graduate 60. There's always, we've already seen it, that there's occasionally you have some people who don't make it through the program. On our second cohort, in fact, we started with 14, 12 did graduate. One of the 2 that didn't was involved in some justice-related items, and John and I spoke with him today. He will be getting back into the program for cohort 3. So we're not in the business of saying you didn't finish, so you're out. We're going to do our best to ensure that if there's truly an interest, that we could get them into the program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What's the expenditure for, and it's a great program, on a per person basis, those that are actually, and they end up being placed?
Sure. So it's about $4,500 per participant, but that includes the $2,400 that's direct stipends to the individual, and then with the additional training that we provide, as I mentioned, the OSHA 30, the scaffolding training, the traffic control, and CPR, those are additional costs. One of the things, and I will give credit to, he deserves all the credit, and Jasmine, who's with me as well. John has those training certificates for him to do the training, and he said to me we should absolutely add those additional, what we refer to as hard cards, as a way to just make our participants a little more employable. A lot of times we're seeing when we go to certain trades, and it depends on a trade-by-trade basis, oftentimes they'll say, well, we don't require anything more than OSHA 10 to get into our program, or to be able to go on to a job site, you need a minimum of OSHA 10. Our participants come in with an OSHA 30, and so that makes them, all of a sudden, they can basically go out the next day as soon as they complete their paperwork with the different union halls.
So I got a question for you.
Sure.
So you're the tracks director, correct?
I am the president and CEO of Rochester Careers and Construction.
Okay.
John handles all of our training, the training director piece of our.
Because I see here there's a tracks director, program manager, administrative assistant.
Eventually, once we have the funding, all of those things will be brought on. Yes, okay. So
but not currently.
Correct, not currently. Correct. Yeah, right now we're just operating on our smaller. Again, from November to now, we've been working with our $75,000 and $44,000 grant from NAP2 and from WDI.
I just want to ask you, so out of 26 individuals enrolled, your graduation percentage is, what is it normally?
Well, our graduation percentage right now is about 80%.
Okay, and then once they get into the workplace, do you know what the success rate is? How long they stay with whatever that their training is? Do you have that or not?
We don't have it now because of this being our pilot program, but again, we plan to track all of that.
Right.
Not only for our own purposes, but in order to continue to have good standing with Trades Futures, again, that's our national, and you'll see a letter of support in this packet, application from the Executive Director of Trades Futures, Nicole Schwartz. In order to maintain your good standing, it's almost like buying into a franchise ship.
Sure.
You do need to provide those updated reports. So they will ask, when was the last time basically, where are your graduates now? Occasionally we've had situations where we've lost contact with them for whatever reason. Not for lack of trying, it's a lot of, continuing to make phone calls and follow up with emails and whatnot. But we've had, in our first cohort, we've lost touch with a couple. And then the rest, as I mentioned, have already applied to programs. And we're hoping, actually, in the last couple of weeks, we know that several of them have had interviews with local labor union halls. A couple of them are still waiting to complete aptitude tests. Again, those are for more of the mechanical trades. Those would be requirements. So it will all depend. But no, we will continue to track. It's part of our name, after all, where our folks are.
Okay.
And you do want to follow up to make sure they are successful, right?
Yeah, it's part of the goal of our program, but it's, again, as I mentioned, it's part of NAPTU's priority. Know where folks are. Too often, to Norm's point, they go through, they graduate, and then they're gone, and that falling through the crack is what we're trying to fill that in.
It's important.
Any questions from the board?
Not a question, but a comment, but I know just through this program, Joe's math skills have increased.
I can almost read a tape measure now.
You're welcome.
That was definitely no compliment.
He's your friend.
Yes, exactly.
That's what friends do, right?
Yeah, with friends like that, who needs enemies, right? I will say Troy's been a great advocate for our program, and we appreciate his support.
Joe, how many fill on your wait list again?
Right now, waitlist number?
Yeah, we're
If I could phone a friend there, Jay.
We're a little over 70 to date. We have a rolling application process, and like Joe said, we can only accept, we are funding right now about 15 individuals per cohort. So yes, we do have a lot of individuals to interview coming up with this next cohort, but we will continue to add to the wait list as we have individuals apply.
Yeah, our goal was to just have it as an open enrollment, and people are able to complete the application online, and then we found, actually, through the pilot program, when we conducted interviews, we had better success in making sure people attended classes. John, what is it that you say? Their availability, what is it? How does it?
Ability is available.
So we've made sure that that's really become key to our program, and working with individuals doing the interview and application processes helped out a lot. But yeah, it's 70, and likely by the time we get back to the office, it will have grown. I will say, in a lot, we ask, how are you finding out about our program? We've invited the media twice to our graduations, and that generally boosts. I said to gentlemen, we might not be able to call the media anymore because we might not have room for so many, but we'll continue as long as the demand is there for skilled tradespeople. We'll continue to do that.
Thanks.
Great, thank you very much. That was a comprehensive review.
Thank you.
Appreciate all that you're doing. So are there any other questions? All right, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the execution and delivery of a contract with Rochester Careers and Construction, Inc.
So
to
moved.
support the TRACS program for $250,000 per year for 3 years, subject to annual board approval. All right.
So moved.
Thank you very much.
Sorry.
There's a second. And I think we have one to say. one abstention. Yeah, okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very
Appreciate
much.
the support.
Thank you. You won't see the results for about 3 years, because most of the programs, once they get engaged, apprenticeship is anywhere from 4 to 5 years, so he's just in an infancy state. Yeah, pre-apprentice, using the pre-apprentice.
But the great part of this is that they realize that they have to do follow-up and basically, track the
Right.
That's
the
huge.
person. So that's so
Huge
important.
component.
Yes.
And pushing this for all the job career fairs we have. You talk to an individual for 10, 15 minutes to get back in front of them again a year, 6 months later.
Yep. You have
And
to,
you know them by name. It's amazing.
Yeah, you have to have follow-up.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good luck. Continued success to you. Anna, we have another item to review, the 1199 SEIU training and employment funds.
Yes, thank you. The letter is in your packet on page 159. It's a request from 1199 SEIU Training and Employment for a no-cost contract extension for their healthcare workforce resiliency project, which we funded last year through the Workforce Development Fund. It's my understanding this is a very successful program, also with a wait list. Training individuals for in-demand healthcare careers. There are 3 reasons for the request. So just to clarify, 1199 SEIU is not asking for more funds from COMIDA, just for an increase in the contract extension by 6 months. The current date of expiration is March 31st, so looking for 6 months beyond that. The reasons for the request are because tuition expenses are lower than expected due to a partnership with the Rochester Educational Opportunity Center on certain classes, including in phlebotomy. Expenses for tutoring and case management have been lower than anticipated due to the availability of additional leveraged resources and other grant funding. And the process of coordinating a new class requires time and resources. That includes scheduling with schools and recruitment, assessment, student preparation, etc. That process can take up to 3 months depending on school capacity. So taking them just a little bit more time to expend the funds that we have allocated for them.
They're not asking for more funds.
Correct, right, just an extension in the contract. So I don't believe we have anybody here from 1199 SEIU, but open for discussion and a motion when the time is appropriate.
All right. Let's see. We have a motion for that. The motion is to extend the 1199 SEIU contract for an additional 6 months through September 30, 2024. Second by Brad. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Dashboard.
Dashboard, yes. We had a lighter agendas in January and February than we did this month. So year to date, we've had 7 sales tax exemptions, 3 mortgage reporting tax exemptions, and 2 pilots. As the year progresses, we hope to get close to last year's year-end data points, but last year we did have a couple of really big projects, including, as you'll recall, the Fairlife project. So it might be tough to top some of last year's numbers in terms of project scale, but you never know what the future has in store. There's a lot of growth going on in Monroe County. Are there any questions about incentives, jobs, and fees? All right. Move right along.
Thank you very much. All right.
So this is our annual meeting.
This is indeed our the audit committee met on March 19th to review the financial audit, the audit committee charter, and whistleblower policy. Mengel, Metzger, and Barr presented the draft 2023 audit. The audit was unmodified with no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses. So, and we have John Reichowitz with us, and you all have a little packet in your materials for a high-level summary that John is going to walk us through on the years ending in 2022. John?
Yep. Great, thank you. As I mentioned, we met with the audit committee and went through the financial results from last year and talked about the audit. The audit went very well again this year. The team here does a great job. And had a great conversation about everything. And I really am going to touch on some of the high points of what we saw and what we discussed. You do have draft copies in front of you. We're just working on finalizing everything. Nothing's changing. There will be a final report shortly out so that can be submitted. As I mentioned, clean audit reports, so that's exactly what you're looking for. Going into the financial results, you had another good year. Net position's up about $2.9 million, resulting mainly from a good year with fee income again. As mentioned, you had a couple of large projects, about $5.9 million worth of fee income, two projects representing about $5.3 million of that. So you had a very, very good year again, not as good as the previous year, but still a very good year. Also at the same time, your revenues for interest were up quite a bit. This is due to your interest rates being higher and your ability to take advantage of that and invest in some U.S. Treasuries, resulting in some additional income from that source. Expenses were up a little bit, about $1 million. Majority of that's related to some additional projects that you undertook. All right, so you're spending there. But again, overall, you ended up with an increase of about $2.9 million. So COMIDA's doing very well financially, ended up in good financial condition, and had another good year. And again, as I mentioned, the audit went very well, so we're very pleased with it. We did also provide a management letter where we talk about any recommendations related to any internal controls. We review your internal controls as part of our tests. And we have no recommendations this year, once again, which is great. I think that everyone's doing a very good job. You have a very strong system of internal controls. I'll be happy to answer any questions anyone has on any of the reports.
Did a great job. I think that you have to stand back and you look at these audits and you realize what goes into them. And we have to really thank the whole team for making it to be as successful as it is. But the fact that we received a positive opinion, we met the generally accepted accounting standards. There were no material weaknesses identified, no material deficiencies, no misunderstandings, except the back room stuff. We're not sure what's going on here. But no internal control issues. They did say that we have a very helpful, cooperative staff, and we know that and appreciate that. And there were no adjustments recommended. So that was a very, what they call in the trade, pretty clean audit. So, any questions for John? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks. Good job.
Okay. So moving right along, the audit committee readopted its charter and reviewed its whistleblower policy. The committee recommends that the full board accept the 2023 financial audit and readopt the whistleblower policy with no changes. Lastly, the committee reviewed its self-evaluation and noted the need for continuing education. Okay. All right, so I'll ask it without any other questions. I'll ask for an approval of the financial audit and the motion to accept the 2023 financial audit as presented.
I'll motion.
Moved by Joe.
Second.
Seconded by Jay. Any other comments, questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay. We are going to move on to the financial audit. Make sure I get the right papers in front of me. The best committee meeting is governance, but we have to do the financial part. Everybody's waiting. Okay. So the finance committee report. The committee met on March 19th, and we reviewed the fee schedule, the finance committee charter, and investment and development deposit policy, the employee handbook, and its self-evaluation. The committee readopted its charter and recommends readoption of the investment and deposit policy. The committee recommends approval of the fee schedule with the adoption of the new small project sales tax only fee schedule as a pilot program for 1 year. The committee reviewed the investment management fiduciary services RFP and has asked the staff to reissue the RFP and advertise on other platforms in the hopes of receiving more responses. Lastly, the committee reviewed its self-evaluation. So I'm going to ask for several motions here. The first one is the employee handbook, and I don't know, Rachel or Robin, you want to mention what those changes were? Or Anna?
The only changes to the employee handbook were in relation to human resources policies in alignment with Monroe County HR policy. We're allowing new hires to have up to 5 days of PTO upon the date of hire. Previously, employees had to work for, I think, up to a year in order to become eligible for that amount of PTO automatically. So it helps with recruitment. And then the county offers a vacation buyback program, and so we would like to implement the similar benefit for employees. If you don't use vacation, you can if the agency can buy back the vacation at 75 cents on the dollar.
Any other questions, or any questions for Anna on the handbook? Did you all receive your copy of the handbook?
Yes.
Okay, good reading, right?
Couldn't put it down.
Page turn.
Couldn't put it down.
So it's good. That's good. Thank you for providing that. All right. Let's see. So we need a motion to approve the employee handbook.
I'll motion it.
Moved by Joe.
Second.
Seconded by Rhett. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And we need a second motion to approve the revised fee schedule with the new small project sales tax only fee program being approved for 1 year. Anna, do you want to comment on that?
Yes, so this, and I'm going to actually ask Rachel and Robin to go into more detail, but this is a sales tax benefit proposed pilot program that would make COMIDA's incentives more accessible for smaller projects. So it would fix our agency fee and council fee at a certain nominal amount for certain projects that are under a certain threshold. And we are limiting this. So typically, obviously, COMIDA has a retail prohibition, but we can incentivize retail projects in instances where a project is located within or adjacent to a highly distressed census tract. We're taking away that provision for this because the reduced fee structure would make it a little unmanageable for staff to be able to handle the number of confirming approvals from the county executive and to navigate board approvals, et cetera. Also, we're not going to be entertaining local labor waivers for these types of projects. So Rachel, Robin, can I ask you to talk about those thresholds?
Sure. The threshold will be a $500,000 project and below. Fees will be set at $750 for legal and $750 for the agency. As far as the local labor waivers go, keep in mind that a lot of these projects are equipment purchase and install only. So a lot of them don't involve construction labor unless it's incidental, in which case we are going to be very rigorous on that process.
We did add an MWBE reduced fee, an even further reduced fee for MWBEs and veteran service disabled veteran organizations down to $500 fee.
And it's the MWB certification from the county versus the state, correct?
Either or, but
Either or.
the county.
Okay.
So, and there was also a schedule in your packets, reviewing the small project sales tax exemption program.
Yeah, and what that does, that was like kind of where we got our data from, looked at the past several years of projects and helped us kind of determine project size and
what the appropriate threshold would be.
So what's driving this?
We see projects that when they are small, the costs related to the incentives sometimes outweigh the benefit, or put it just close enough where it's making companies have to make a hard decision of whether to pursue the benefit. And we would rather err on the side of getting benefit to more companies and reduce the fee on our side.
Great answer.
By and large, these are good projects.
Wow.
These are good projects that we want to see move forward.
No, that was a great answer.
We never know what they're gonna turn
Rachel
into.
always has it.
Well, thank you.
Sometimes, I can.
So, this local waiver wasn't discussed.
That's good.
Love it. Yeah, that's right.
With this. Now, I am concerned in two positions here. Number one, the interpretation of an applicant that hears there's no local labor waiver on a project because it's 500 or below. To eliminate all of local labor provision language, couldn't we put a reduce, because I'm not seeing where that would cut down a project to not happen. So why are we eliminating altogether a local labor waiver position, taking that position to go to zero when we could have considered a 75 or a 50-50 or something?
What Anna is saying is we are going to require 100% local labor on these projects.
Oh, I thought
we are
you
not
said
going
it.
to.
No,
Yeah, no. No.
We were wondering where you were headed.
Yeah, we all were. You don't like
I got three bosses over there. I got three bosses trying to build something over there.
Troy, they knew you were gonna be
All
sitting
right,
at the
I'll
table.
check in with you all 8 o'clock tonight. No, that was all, that's
Okay,
you. That
yeah,
is
so
you.
for
Don't-
smaller projects, you
Yes,
won't
right.
see.
I'm the only one that didn't get that, huh?
Yeah, man.
That's all right.
All right, thank you.
You have a big day.
All right, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the revised fee schedule with the new small project sales tax only fee program being approved for 1 year.
Can I motion that one in?
I
Can I motion that one in?
All those in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion carries.
I thought you were gonna abstain on that one.
Oh, my
At
goodness.
this time, I'd like to turn the meeting over to Jay, and we will review the governance committee report.
Thank you, Chair Bird. I'm going to ask Robin and Rachel, I'm going to do this from memory, I don't have notes here, so if I miss anything, please chime in. But the governance committee met, we reviewed a number of, we reviewed all of our policies. We are recommending that they be renewed with a change to the conflict of interest policy. I can't recall, we were going to do a change on that, or?
Yes.
Have we seen that?
Yes.
Okay.
It did go out with the board packet.
Okay.
So we removed the word financial
We removed
interest.
the word financial, so I think all of the board members have seen that. We also reviewed the board evaluations. There was also a consistent theme here, need for more education. But another area was that the governance committee would be a little more active in recommending the skill set of potential new board members as vacancies arose. That is an area where we didn't feel like it is in our purview, but we are not taking full advantage of that. We know eventually it's up to the legislature and the county exec, but I think we should at least put a request in as to what we feel we need from a skill set standpoint on the board. We also, I believe, was there also a policy that we put in together about contacting board members?
Yes.
Applicants contacting board members as well?
So we did two things to address that concern, or we've done one, we're looking at a second. The first is to insert language into the application that states that the applicant has reviewed the current list of board members and staff, and they represent that there is no conflict. Additionally, I think it's probably appropriate to add in the application, we'll take a look at it, that the result of contacting board members to solicit support, you know, if you're in a conversation, this is going to come up. You're going to have conversations with folks in the community where you might talk about your role as a board member and a project they might have, but you can use your judgment as board members of when that crosses the line. When it crosses the line to soliciting votes for in support of a project, that could result in disqualification one way or the other. One, staff might disqualify the application based on that feedback, or board members might end up recusing themselves from a vote, and that'll have the same effect. So we have means to get to the end.
And those changes are based on some events that have occurred recently, so they're in response to some certain things that we've seen. We also reviewed the bylaws and recommending no change, and we re-adopt the bylaws, as well as the mission statement and our performance measures. So, did I miss?
You did not miss anything.
Very good. So,
No notes, nothing. That's pretty good.
Noggin still works.
Anything else on governance? All right. I'll ask for a motion to readopt policies with changes to the conflict of interest policy as discussed.
Second.
Second, moved and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. I'll also ask for an adoption of, a re-adoption of our bylaws with no changes.
Motion.
Moved by
Second.
Troy, seconded by Rhett. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. I'll ask for ask for a motion to re-adopt the mission statement and adopt the performance measurement report.
Motion.
Moved by Joe, seconded by Lisa. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the election of officers. And so I'll ask for a motion to appoint the following officers: Ann Burr as chair, Jay Popley vice chair, Troy Milne secretary, Lisa Bolzner treasurer, ethics officer is chair of the audit committee, and contracting officer is our executive director.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'll ask now for a motion to re-adopt the audit committee, finance committee, and governance committee charters.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And the board evaluation summary. Did we review that? Do we need to review that with the board?
Governance took a look at it, as well as their own evaluation.
Okay.
Same theme,
All right.
more continuing education.
Okay, so we've just reviewed it. We don't need a motion.
We do not.
All right. And then Anna has so thank you for all of that, folks. Anna has a couple of updates for us. First is on the Paris report update, where that stands, and also she's going to review our 2023 annual report with us. Anna.
Thank you, Anne. Staff is working on Saturdays now to make sure that we make our Paris deadline. Paris reports due to the authority's budget office by April 1st. Typically, we don't really make it in by the exact deadline because, as you're all aware, COMIDA's project volume is robust, and so it's a lot of number crunching. And also the system that the comptroller's office has in place to process the Paris report can be a little challenging. We can't just re-upload last year's data. You have to input everything manually. Robin, do you have anything to add to that, or Allison, on how we're doing with Paris?
No, it's going, it's just a full-time job in addition to our full-time job. So, and what we found is that we cannot be in this office. Like, we dedicate days to work on it, and we have to leave the office to do it, because otherwise we get
On board.
sucked into other
Do you want to
things.
share us an address for an edible arrangement? Or?
Yes. The other thing is the authority budget office, and actually it was the comptroller, who said they would prefer that we wait to submit our report until we have responses from all the project applicants. We had submitted with telling we put in the notes in the report that we were using prior year's job numbers because XYZ company had not yet responded. The feedback was, don't submit an incomplete report. So our response is, okay, then it's not going to go in until we have all the responses, and sometimes that means June. But that's really the driving force behind why it's late.
Is that like
Do we always get
it tries to any given project owner? How does that work?
What was the question?
3 tries or
basically, yes, and I keep track of that. So we've got the initial mailing, we've got the second notice mailing, and then that's when Robin gets involved and starts sending direct emails and phone calls, which is the stage we're at now. We're not that bad on the list. Amy just gave it to me last week before she went on vacation. We're in a good spot. It's not that bad. Now the hard part is us sitting down and getting all the data inputted.
Were they okay with the late report?
Yeah, they don't say anything to us about
so no
the
news
late
is good.
report.
Okay.
We'll see.
As long as we're acting in good faith, which we are.
I know, right?
Received a response to that email that, yes, we're okay with you being.
Well, we
late.
didn't.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, we just don't ask.
Okay.
But it's usually this way every year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you. I'll try to breeze through this. Our annual report.
Copies of your report?
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
Yes.
I printed them.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
great.
Happy Easter, everybody.
Okay.
Yes, happy Easter. See you in
Yeah,
April.
of course.
Negotiations.
You gotta work.
Come on now.
You want to come play
I'll
with
go
me?
quickly, because I know
I've
time
done
is
this before.
5 minutes tops. We had 27 new projects in 2023 with $1.1 billion, almost $1.2 billion if you round up, in company investments, and job creation of 515 new FTEs over 3 years with 321 jobs retained. Approved projects by municipality, you can see that there's some geographic diversity around the county. I'll skip past that. We just have some project highlights. Of course, Andrews Terrace, an affordable housing project, was very large. Was this larger, Rachel, in terms of fee income and volume than Fairlife? Okay.
Yeah, because the fee is higher to the IDA when we're issuing bonds with a pilot.
Yeah.
Really?
It is.
So just a great project, renovating Andrews Terrace apartment building on St. Paul Street. We'll keep the board apprised of that status. Ultrafill LLC was a sales tax project. Excuse me. 10,000 square feet in the Sibley Square building. Of course, Sibley was on our agenda today as that building continues to be populated. This is a pilot beverage manufacturing line, a continued growth of the innovation ecosystem in Greater Rochester in our food and beverage industry sector. Fairlife, this is going to be the largest dairy processing facility in the northeastern United States upon its completion, hopefully in the not too distant future. There's going to be a groundbreaking event in April of this year. So, and we've had just a couple of waivers so far on the local labor front, but we continue to monitor that. Huge project, $660 million. So largest in terms of CapEx in COMIDA's history, and very competitive. Coca-Cola was behind this project and was very skeptical about doing this project in New York State. So we're very glad that we were able to get that Fast New York grant going and make it happen. And then Raymond Corporation, this is a subsidiary of Toyota Industries. 23,000 square foot renovation in Henrietta for material handling equipment, electronic warehouse lift trucks. This was $1.9 million in CapEx for 41 new jobs. And then our workforce development fund. As we move ahead, as I move ahead to talk about COMIDA modernization, I just want to point out that in 2023, we were particularly focused on workforce development and making sure that our workforce development fund was getting utilized in the right way. Some projects that we supported through the fund included Embark, which is a no-code computer software coding boot camp and startup accelerator program through NextCore, Rochester Works Advanced Recovery and on-the-job training programs, the Rochester Child First Network, which helps in-home childcare providers with startup costs and certifications, the Young Adult Manufacturing Technical Experience Program, or YAMTEP, in year 2, GRE's Economic Gardening Program, which helps small and medium-sized businesses in growth mode countywide, and then of course the 1199 SEIU Healthcare Worker Training Program, which, as I mentioned earlier, has a waiting list. So all great programs, and we'll continue to see more on our future agendas. COMIDA modernization was something that we approved in 2022. It initiated with the establishment of the Workforce Development Fund. And as we look ahead to this year and beyond, we're anticipating the finalization and approval of the county's updated comprehensive plan. It's going to be the first time the county's had an updated comp plan in over 40 years, well over 40 years. And we're going to be looking to that plan for some guidance on updates to COMIDA's policies and our uniform tax exemption policy in particular. One item, for example, is we don't have a solar pilot program currently, so we'll look to adjust that in the coming year. We're continuing to convene governance to talk about housing and local labor. Staff structure. So as you've all pointed out, our staff's doing a great job. We've added 3 county staff members that are focused on business outreach. One of them is right here, Connor, working closely with COMIDA staff to really get the word out about our programs, make sure that we're reaching the right audiences for our programs. And we'll continue to allocate dollars for workforce initiatives to modernize and retool the workforce of the future. In the new year, I shouldn't say the new year, but this year we'll be in earnest convening the COMIDA board to talk more in depth about the next phase of modernization, especially in alignment with the results of the comprehensive plan when that's finalized. And then one item that's a deliverable is the establishment of this small business pilot program that makes our sales tax incentives more accessible for smaller projects and smaller businesses. I mentioned our UTEP. We haven't updated our UTEP since 2012. The needs and priorities of the local economy have changed since 2012. Stands to reason that our UTEP might need some polishing up this year in alignment with the comp plan. And we'll continue to evaluate job creation requirements for projects that are looking for real property tax abatements. As you all know, if it's a brand new project to Monroe County, that's a new company, technically we don't require any new jobs. So we typically put one requirement that the company create 1 new FTE. We made accommodations in light of the Amazon project a few years ago, but we'd like to cement something in our policies that says, okay, if you're a new project, new company coming to town, needs to be a certain set number of FTEs created associated with the project. So that's our annual report, and we can make it available to everyone electronically as well.
Thank you, Donna. Very impressive year, impressive results. Appreciate all of the great efforts by our director and our staff, Rachel, everyone. It's a huge effort, and Greg, and all of those you folks make us look really good and give us successful projects for us to manage. And I think we stand out if you look at the other organizations throughout the state, that I think they're still, what, in number one position?
Are we the top in the
Project.
states?
Looking at Rachel,
What is
I
it?
think
Are we
we're
the
right
top
up
in the
there.
states?
One or two usually. We trade places in New York City, or one of the Long Island sometimes is in the mix.
We compete with New York City?
We do for a number of projects. We're uniquely situated where most counties have more than one IDA. And we have only one other, and that's only Village of Fairport. So we are in a unique situation in that we have no other competing IDAs in the county.
Which is why our Paris report is so thin.
Typically, that Paris report would be split up to like 4 or 5, like in Erie County.
And thanks to the board, too. It's been a terrific year. And we're all very proud of what we've accomplished and the results. Help the residents manage. Norm's grinning at it.
I'm just so happy to be here.
So are we. Happy that you're here. Happy that we're here.
Show today.
Not, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Thanks, Dave.
Second.
Thank you for, go.